top high school point guard, Robert Dillingham's father, Donald Dillingham, was very upset. This is a bad situation for my son. He was already committed to University of Kentucky, but no matter what, he does need to finish high school. So if your son was already committed to a really good school with an amazing following, with all of these things in the bag, why on earth would you put him somewhere where you are not 100% certain he's going to end up with a degree at the end of the year? Why would you put that in jeopardy? Why would you do that? Why would you put him in a school where perhaps halfway through the first semester of school, you're going to have to find a new school to put him in that hopefully he'll be able to just get into the local public school, but who knows like what he might have to do extra to make up for that. Who knows how good their school team is. Who knows, why would you risk it? I'm very confused by this father. Donald Dillingham, you got $15,000 extra, but you don't have a lot of sense. Welcome to my diary, beloved. I'm Tatami, and today I have been sucked in, y'all. I finally read a quote in an article that has made me feel the need to talk about Kanye on video. It happened, but you know what? It's not something I've seen other videos about yet, so hopefully not too much repeated content on your timeline. Essentially, this article was about the staff walking out of Donda Academy. If you're not familiar, Donda Academy is Kanye's newest venture. Pretty sure he already started a church. So the next step was the children. The children are the future. So he has opened up the Donda Academy. A lot of people signed up their kids, paid $15,000. And I didn't realize this article was going to be about the parents until after I clicked and saw the full title. That said that the parents are slamming the school, which I found fascinating. Like, imagine buying your child a $15,000 ticket to the circus and then going to the news media to complain that there were clowns. Like, it couldn't be me. If I had paid for that, and if that my kids had gone there and the clownery had come back to bite, you would not have catch me anywhere close to the media. There wouldn't even be a chance that a leak could expose me as the person who complained about what I bought my kids. At any rate, the first part of the article goes in on the staff, not in on the staff. It gives the staff's side of the story. Essentially, I think what we have in that regard is a bunch of people who were willing to risk it for the paycheck, perhaps. And then, the heat got too much, so they get out of the kitchen. That's really what I think, because I'm startled to think that the staff all had 100% faith in this institution when they signed up. They probably didn't. It was a bit of a gamble. Things get a bit awkward, especially around upcoming holiday season. I can imagine for these Jewish staffers showing up for Hanukkah or what have you, it might be difficult to explain what's going on there to family and friends. I respect that, and I'm here for it. Now, I was especially impressed with this quote right here. This is why I felt I needed to make this video. It said, on Wednesday, the Academy principal, Jason Angel, emailed parents that at the discretion of our founder, Donda Academy will close for the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year, effective immediately. But 4 hours later, an alert was sent out saying school was back on and would be in session on Thursday, the next day. Is nobody going to be thinking about the kids? That's all I want to know. When I read this, that says to me some parents had a very difficult conversation perhaps with their teenager. You're not going back to school tomorrow. You're not going to see your friends. Don't bother to do your homework. Maybe we can stay up late and watch some TV and, eat some pizza and have a good time, because I'm glad you got that last Halloween with your friends, because it's not happening. How many people had to like snip, snap with their kids? Oh, actually, it's back on tomorrow. Iron your uniform or get your clothes ready. How many people, it's like, who would want to be showing up to that? How is that okay for children? The inconsistency, the playing with children's lives. Also, like, what about kids who perhaps this is their senior year? It's a really critical transition period for children in school. You're playing around with their lives like that. Plus, there's also kind of the extended point where I'm not even getting into, him disrespecting the black community and George Floyd, him doing the like anti-Semitic. I'm not even sure what a lot of what he was even trying to say about Jews really meant or is. I have a lot of questions, but I don't think that there are answers, because I do think we are witnessing to different extents and levels a sort of manic episode, a sort of mental episode in which the media keeps taking turns inviting him front and center to pontificate, and there's not really much going on in terms of connecting ideas and thoughts and actually having a coherent belief system. Is kind of where I'm at on that level, on that discussion. But I mean, on the level of when you put your kid into a school that's being run by somebody who is pretty unreliable, who's supposedly trying to get out of like all contracts or whatever people's excuses are for all this. Supposedly there was a time when he said this, so if he did say this, it's like this person is not completely attached to the contracts in which they sign, be that with mega corporations, with themselves, or perhaps with you, the parents. So it's just like this idea of putting your kids in such an unstable situation where you're not even really sure your kid's going to get a degree out of this. You're not even sure if your kid's going to graduate on time. These kids aren't able to be in their tournament for basketball because that got taken away from them. They were dropped as a school. So even that weird little, maybe this is a shortcut for children who want to play basketball and to get into the pros, that whole side line isn't really viable if you're not even in the tournament. If you do all those months of practice, yes, it's only been 2 months, but those kids have like formed bonds with each other. They've formed, bonds as a team. They've practiced. Who knows, how much effort they really put into this. This is a real dream for them. For that to be like taken away, given back, taken away, given back, you never know. Or like just taken away in the case of the tournament. And whatever the excuses, at first I was like, maybe it's because he just got overwhelmed, maybe he's angry, maybe he's got other ideas or something. But it's like, at the end of the day, none of that matters. I can't say for sure what it is. I can probably make an educated guess, but I can't say for sure what his reasoning behind doing this was. But whatever it is, the end effect is the same. The children are impacted. And I know a lot of people want to be like, oh, like, let's not attack somebody when everybody's attacking. Other people are like, now's the perfect time to attack him. Personally, and this is like not even me being funny, like, there are bigger things in the world. But honestly, like, as somebody who was abused as a child, it really stuns me how far it's gone for Kanye. But I don't feel like there was this same heat for Weinstein. There wasn't this same unified front for Weinstein, for others who clearly partied with him, clearly did a lot of this stuff with him. I just haven't seen this united front from the peoples. I haven't seen this united front from corporations. And it's really wild to me that, that type of thing wouldn't create that kind of absolute human front, because I don't think it is totally about what's right and thinking racism is something we all need to put our foot down on, because usually racism isn't something we all put our foot down on. Let's be real. Usually racism isn't something that is a united front from all companies. And so I do think like there are other discussions to be had, in that just going with all one narrative probably isn't the best way, but there pretty much is in this situation. I do think there is like a one side, which is you can't be saying racist shit about people, but I do think that there's a larger conversation to be had about the media's role in this, about all of the other different things that I was just talking about. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is I was really surprised to see that these parents were surprised that getting themselves involved with somebody who's, this has been him for a while, and he hasn't been super reliable for a while. I know, like, back when I stopped being his fan, he was still pretty a reliable person. I stopped being his fan when he married Kim because I could just see he was going down a path that I didn't want to help fund. I didn't want to help advertise. I didn't want to help support or anything like that. So it's like I haven't been a fan for a long time, but I can't admit that this happened a few years after that, and that it's been a long time in the making. So I'm pretty stunned at these parents who are less forgiving. Let me see. Okay, yeah, the blow to the burgeoning basketball stars wooed by the academy. Top high school point guard Robert Dillingham's father, Donald Dillingham, was very upset. This is a bad situation for my son. He was already committed to University of Kentucky, but no matter what, he does need to finish high school. So if your son was already committed to a really good school with an amazing following, with all of these things in the bag, why on earth would you put him somewhere where you are not 100% certain he's going to end up with a degree at the end of the year? Why would you put that in jeopardy? Why would you do that? Why would you put him in a school where perhaps halfway through the first semester of school you're going to have to find a new school to put him in, that hopefully he'll be able to just get into the local public school, but who knows like what he might have to do extra to make up for that? Who knows how good their school team is? Who knows? Why would you risk it? I'm very confused by this father. Donald Dillingham, you got $15,000 extra, but you don't have a lot of sense, is sadly what I'm seeing here. And then this person, the school was not aggressive on academics and our son's grades were slipping, said father of Jackie Howard Abu Askia, a top-notch guard slated to graduate in 2024. So we got him out. They need to tighten up their curriculum. Okay, so clearly this was gonna not be a super tight place academically, but you put your freshman there? I'm just like, what's going on? If academics was your um real drive, you know what I mean? Why would you go somewhere where the priority was the basketball team and just letting the basketball players like just play basketball basically for high school so they can just graduate and get into the NBA? What, there was never really this huge emphasis on academics from what I heard anyways. All I've been hearing about is this like basketball team and like the fashion show and singing, I think sometimes too. There hasn't been this huge emphasis on we've hired these such and such and such professors because we have a strict rigid academic code up to what Donda would have loved. I don't know what Donda would have loved personally. I feel like sometimes she's not really treated like a real person. People are like, well, if Donda was here, she was just a woman. She was just a woman who raised a son. We need to, I feel like, there's a lot of dissonance there. Plus, I've read that there was like an ex of his that like wasn't even bitter. He was just like, no, he was always like this and she always enabled him. So I don't think Donda, believing Donda would have done something. What would have Donda have done? This is how we got here in the first place. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Do you guys have any thoughts about this? Like the fact that these people were mad. What do you think they were expecting? What exactly were they expecting from this school? Because that sounds like exactly what I was expecting. That was exactly, oh, there wasn't very good academics, so you had to switch your kid to a school that actually had a curriculum planned and could prove it with alumni on the wall that they've actually, I know everybody needs their first class, but I do think he perhaps aimed too high. Kind of like Umar Johnson in this sense. Like, I think that he got farther than Umar Johnson did. He actually has the building, he has the staff, but I don't think that there's very concrete plans. And at the end of the day, the school's at the whim of this man, whatever he chooses. And so that not only means that it's at the whim of if he wants to close it or not, but it's at the whim of if his behavior causes somebody else to do something. If his behavior causes somebody else to get them to drop out, then that's what his behavior has caused. Then your child has to deal with that. Should your children be dealing with that instability? The children are the future. I just don't think so. I just think that they deserve better than this situation that I'm seeing here. As absurd as it is, as funny as it is in some cases, when I'm reading it, I have to chuckle. It's just not funny because this sucks for these children, and I'm glad some of them have wisened up and put their kids into other schools. I personally would. I'd be like, we're not going back Thursday. School's back on Thursday, sure. Maybe you can finish up Thursday and Friday just so you can say goodbye to your little friends. Then get the numbers, get the email addresses, figure that the social media handles, what have you, follow each other, because this circus is coming to an end. Okay, somebody needs to actually be the ringleader up in here, and it can't be Kanye. It cannot. All right, beloved, may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I'll see you next time.